Hello everyone, Helljumper here, and on this video, I will be going over multiple ways to kill heavy tanks such as the IS-2 or King Tiger in Steel Division 2. Learning how to effectively deal with heavy tanks is essential to playing team games such as 10v10s or 4v4s, as you will typically always find at least one player will have a division that has access to these tanks, and if you can't come up with an effective plan to counter them, then the enemy team already has an advantage over you. The first thing you need to know is that basically no tank on the Axis side, besides a King Tiger or a Jagdpanther, can frontally kill an IS-2 at max range in a head-on battle, and that no tank on the Allied side can frontally kill a King Tiger. So for the rest of the video, aside from that detail, the skills and ways required to kill a heavy tank applies to the Allies and Axis. The first way of killing heavy tanks is by utilizing planes in the form of AT rocket planes, AT gun pods, or AT cluster bombers. For AT rocket planes, there are two ways to use them to kill a heavy tank. This is from the front or from the side. Now let's test this out. For this first test, I'm going to be using the Focke-Wulf 190 F8, which is an anti-tank plane for the Axis side, found in the 5th SS Panzer Division. Now for killing in normal IS-2 1943, it typically takes 3 Focke-Wulf 190s to pierce the frontal armor of the tank. So let's test this out. For this next test, I'll be hitting an IS-2 1944 from the side with 2 Focke-Wulf 190 F8s. So to do this, you simply call in your anti-tank plane at an angle and then give an attack move once it's lined up with the side armor. Now as you can see, we used 160 points less in resources to kill an even more formidable tank than the IS-2 1943. I've shown you how to kill IS-2s with AT rocket planes. Now let's test the same principles to kill King Tigers using Typhoon ATs found in the 6th Airborne Division. So the same principle applies that typically 3 Typhoon ATs will kill a King Tiger from the front.
Roger, heading to 360. Royal Air Force rules the sky. I'm out, over. I got a hit.
Now we're going to test 2 Typhoon ATs from the side.
I'm out, over. I got a hit.
As you can see, the Typhoon AT is just as effective, if not more so, at killing King Tigers than the Focke-Wulf 190 F8. The next type of plane that we'll be going over is the AT gunpod planes. For AT gunpod planes, the option for killing heavy tanks are the same in terms of going for the front or side armor. However, you will notice that typically the gunpod planes, such as the Ju-87 or IL-2 for the Allies, are much slower and maneuverable, which has the potential for multiple passes or multiple kills, where the AT rocket plane that we previously went over is only able to attack one ground target per pass. For the first test, I'm going to be attacking an IS-2 1944 on the left and an IS-2 1943 on the right. The IS-2 1944 has 180 frontal armor, whereas the 1943 version has 160 frontal armor.
Leitstelle, bereit zum Angriff. Führe Tiefflugangriff durch.
Now, as you can see, neither pass actually killed the tank, but you could also tell that on both models there was a little bit of HE damage, as well as stressing them out very much. However, like I said before, with the gunpod planes, you could come in for multiple passes. For the second gunpod test, I'm going to be hitting the side armor of IS-2 this time. As you can see, just like the AT rocket planes, you just gotta come from the side and then line up your shot and then give the attack move. I did this by holding the shift button to give a second order as a follow-on order. As you can see, the AT gun pods couldn't penetrate from the front, but they did penetrate from the side, just like an AT rocket plane. Now we're going to do a third experiment where we bring two Ju-87s from the side, only this time we're going to target all three IS-2s from the side with follow-on orders, followed by an evac order. So as you can see, unlike the AT rocket planes, which typically can only kill one target, the AT gun pods are able to kill multiple targets in one pass. Now that you've seen the Ju-87, we're going to test out the IL-2 from the Allied side. So first, I'm just going to go over one pass against a King Tiger from the front. One thing to note about IL-2s compared to Ju-87s is they're less maneuverable, but way more resilient, and they could also kill a King Tiger from the front, typically most of the time. Since we know that the IL-2 can penetrate a King Tiger from the front, there's no need to test it attacking from the side. But one thing we can test is, can it do the same maneuver that the Ju-87 did? So just like the Ju-87s, we're going to call in two IL-2-37s, and then just give them a line order down the line of King Tigers, followed by an evac order. As you can see, it's just as effective. The last type of plane I will go over is the AT Cluster Bomber. This is essentially a one-click kill option for heavy tanks. Keep in mind though, that if AA stresses a cluster plane even only a little bit, then the cluster will spread, leaving a good chance that the heavy tank will not die, but it will still do a decent amount of damage to the tank. To kill a heavy tank with a cluster bomber, just simply select it in the plane menu, and then right click whatever tank you want it to kill. All it simply needs to do is just go over the tank and then drop its bombs. As you can see, with a cluster bomber, it has an AoE effect, and if you have multiple tanks standing in a row, it will kill all of them. The last thing you need to know about using planes to kill heavy tanks is that if you are going to use artillery, the most important thing that your artillery is going to do is to kill AA. Because if there is AA, then your planes won't kill heavy tanks. Thank you for watching part 1 on effective ways on how to kill heavy tanks in Steel Division 2, which went over on how to kill heavy tanks from the air, and now, by default, you will know how to kill any tank in Steel Division 2 from the air. In the next few days, I'll release part 2 on how to kill heavy tanks, which will cover ambush tactics, frontal assaults, and using indirect fire to bring down those big cats. Thank you for your support and have a nice day.